Okay, good afternoon. Welcome to the new session. So, last time you saw a little of Linux and what the program will be all about. And you also knew how to connect yourself to your various user session in our server. But before I move on, let us speak a little bit of history about Linux. Hmm? Linux, first of all, is an operating system. Okay, it's an operating system that that is the same as Windows. Windows, Mac OS, and other operating systems that you guys are common with all falls in the same family with Linux because Linux is an operating system. Have you have you known that Linux is an operating system? Hmm?
Yes, yes.
Good. Now, the reason why people learn Linux is because of two main reasons. It is highly secure than the others, and it is fluent and rapid to execute some tasks. It is really rapid. Like, why do we say it is secured? It is secured in such a way that for hackers to attack your system, first thing is that there's a high level of protocol in Linux than in other Windows machine. Let me try to share my screen. Okay. The first thing is you have some when you are a user in Linux, you have some limited privileges that you can't go beyond it because Linux first of all has the property of regular and root users. Regular users are common users within our system that can execute some specific task, but within their limited privileges. What they will do is that they will need something which is called sudo powers. And you can't run sudo powers or sudo commands if you don't have your password within. That's why some in Linux we have password authentication, as you heard, where you guys, we attribute you users and we follow to your users, we attach to it passwords. That's why when you want to log in, you have to log in with a password. But there's another type of authentication, which is SSH key authentication. That is what makes Linux different from the others. When we use users and password, we go ahead following the same pattern as Windows, where when you want to log into a session, you just go to your to your user, you click on it, and it prompts you to a password. If you don't have any password, you log in directly. Whereas with Linux, either you go in with password and user, or you go in with SSH authentication. With SSH authentication, all you need is just your public key and your private key. That's what you will learn in this course. Some different ways of authenticating. Now, the main difference also with other system is that Windows, if you can see, whenever you want to navigate on Windows, all you have to do is to click up and down, left and right on different icons, and it redirects you to where you want to do have. Or when you want to execute a program, you double click on a program. That's true, right? This process of clicking and interacting with your system via icons and mouse pointers, we call it a graphical user interface, where your interface where you have to interact with your computer or with your kernel system is simply with icons. Like if I want to draw something, I click on this. If I want to erase something, I click on this. so on. You have icons that you click and you interact directly with your program or with your system. Like if I want to navigate, let us say, for example, I want to navigate into directories on my computer. What I will do is that I will simply open, for example, this icon that is on this top, on this bottom menu. I click on it and it shows me different drives that I can navigate to. Like if I want to navigate to my Windows C, I open my Windows C and I will see different types of folders where I can navigate to, and so on and so forth. That's a way of navigating on Windows system. But Linux is a different type, it's a different vibe. Where when if you want to navigate on Linux, you have to master some commands. I'm not saying you have to recitate commands or you have to list the commands in your head or memorize the commands. No, master its functioning. That is the difference with Linux and Windows. Windows, they are most often you interact with Windows by clicking and following the graphical user interface. But with Linux, even though it has a graphical user interface, like you will open and see icons on the screen. But most of the time, we interact with Linux with commands, with the CLI, with its terminal. What's a terminal? A terminal is like your git bash. Git bash is a form of terminal. It's a program that works as a terminal. The CMD, if I come here, I type CMD, for example, command prompt. It pops me a terminal. On the Mac OS, he has also his terminal, which is called terminal. All our systems, operating system has terminal, where if you want to interact with the system via those terminal, you have to know their commands. And it is the same thing, and not all those terminal does not interact with the same command. Like Linux terminal has its commands which he understands. Command prompt has its command that he understands. Windows PowerShell is also is also a terminal in Windows. Windows PowerShell, this is it, has also his commands that he understands. All those terminal has their commands that they understand, and those terminal we call them command line interface. It's like a German understanding Dutch, a a Cameroonian understanding French and English and even his dialect, a Nigerian understanding Yoruba, an English and a British guy understanding British English, and an American understanding American English, and so on. All those have their different languages. But if we go further, like deep into it, American English and British English are a little bit common, but they differ in some pronunciation. The same as Windows PowerShell, and in fact, the same as all those terminals. They have some common commands, but they differ in either syntax or semantics. What it means by syntax, the way you are writing the commands. Semantic, the way they understand the commands. Is you understood? Those are some IT terminologies. But let me not just focus on IT because most of us here are beginners in IT. Let me bring it down into layman terms. Okay, put this in mind. The way we interact with Linux operating system is most often via commands, and the interface that executes the commands, we call it command line interface. It is not that they don't have icons where we interact with the mouse pointer, but most of the time we interact with the terminal. And when you want to run on a server, the server, we interact with the server via commands. Okay? So there's another difference with other operating system, which is called package manager. The way we download stuff or programs on Windows or Mac OS is different from what when we want to download with Linux systems. With Linux systems, we download our software or our programs with what we call package managers. And the different types of package manager that do exist on the Linux system is based on the distributions of the Linux system. We have commonly two distributions of Linux, which is the Debian distribution and the Red Hat based distribution. The Debian distribution is basically for what? Ubuntu, for example, and the Red Hat distribution is commonly for CentOS. The way they look are different. Like this terminal, okay, is Windows. That's why it's looking like that. Git Bash, Git Bash is a terminal that is closest to Linux terminal, but this is a particular Linux terminal as what you will see for when you are logging in our various servers. This is a particular Linux server. Hmm? Let me close this session, close this one, open this, open Ubuntu. Okay. This is a terminal Ubuntu. You see, its way of showing differs with other terminals, first of all. Second point is that the command that you interact with it is a little bit different with the other terminals. And the way you download programs is also different with the one in other operating system. Now, if I want to download or install, if I want to download or install a system or a program or a software in Linux, I go ahead with what we call a package manager. Package manager is here to download softwares. Whereas in Windows, there are many ways of downloading softwares. Whereas in Linux, it has a centralized way of managing its packages. That's why in Linux, we call softwares as packages, whereas others we call them as programs. And second point also is that the different package manager uh, works with the different distribution. As I told you, we have Debian and we have Red Hat distribution. Okay. Now I told you about the command line usage, and so something is that Linux is open source. Meaning that what there is a community that are working on Linux as a group to improve that distribution. If you're a developer, you can also arrange and customize the Linux distribution. Now, there's something that I have to also tell you as you guys are new to Linux and IT is the terminal of Linux, you have to focus on two things. The terminal prompt. What's the terminal prompt? The terminal prompt consists of three things. Your username, your host name of your computer of your server, and the current working directory. Okay, let me show it easily. From this screen, you can see it quite well. There are two signs. There is a dollar sign. When you see the dollar sign, it means that you're a regular user. But when you see a pound sign, like this one, it means that you are the root user. That's how some people can differ from, am I working as a root user or am I working as a regular user? Root user means that what you have full power of the system. Regular user, it means that you have least privileges. And to know exactly the other terminal prompt is the presence of the dollar sign or the presence of the pound sign. And next, how do you identify the entities present on your terminal prompt? The first entity is before the @ this arrobas, this @ symbol. What is behind that @ symbol is simply your username, the username of your user session, of your session. What is after is just either the host IP address or the host name of your server or of your computer or of your local computer. In fact, what hosts or where is your Linux installed? What is after that arrow? That @ symbol is simply the host name of your local computer or sometimes the host IP. When we say host, host is simply the machine where the Linux server is installed. You guys, your Linux server is installed on a cloud EC2 instance, so it contains the host IP of your EC2 instance, and the host IP is a private IP. So don't be confused between the IP address that I sent you with what you are seeing on your screen. What you are seeing on your screen is simply the private IP, but what I've sent you is the public IP. We guys know that when you want to communicate with a system, you communicate from outside with the public IP, but when you are within, you communicate with the private IP. Okay, let me show you directly. If you can see, I'm working right now on my local computer. I'm not working on the remote server. On my local computer, my user is what? Royce, the one behind the @ symbol. My host name is laptop tan 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 tan, which is what? And now, if you see very well, if I add, you see something like a tilde. Are we together? Hmm? This tilde is just a symbol or an abbreviation of my current working directory. Hmm? And tilde represents home directory. Okay? Tilde represents home directory. Now, if you see very well, this is $sign. The $sign represents that I'm a regular user. So I have limited privileges. And this tilde simply shows that what? This is my current directory. So whatever is present behind that $sign and before and after the column represents your current directory. And what it means by current directory means the folder, if you want to say it in Linux term, the folder in which you are found exactly. In Linux, you have to know what is a folder, which is a directory, and a file. A file is like a letter which contains written content in it, whereas a directory is like a workspace or a folder which contains other folders and the files in it. It's like a bag, okay? Put in mind that a directory is like a bag, hmm, containing containing files or other bags, okay? Containing files or other bags, okay? And you have to know also something that what? A folder can contain another folder. That's why each directory contains what we call either a subdirectory or subfiles. So, what do I mean? Hmm? What is inside a directory is called a subdirectory of that directory. Like, if I can say, for example, this is back A. Hmm? If back B is inside back A, this simply means that back B is a subdirectory of back A. Are we together? So, what am I explaining here? A directory does not come from airspace. It comes from another directory. Like if I type this command pwd, which is print working directory to give me the full path of the directory that I am in, it will show me that Royce is my current directory, but Royce belongs to a directory. So Royce is a subdirectory of what? Home. And home belongs to another directory, which is a subdirectory of what? /. What does this mean? That our / is the parent root directory. So in a system, In Linux system, in all Linux system, we have what we call a parent root directory, and the parent root directory is where all other directories are being created. It is the father of all directories. That is how you have to understand the structure of directories. We have a parent root and we have directories created from it. And a directory is not created from space, but it's created from another directory. So directories are subdirectories of directory. So if, for example, I ask, I want to navigate to this directory, all I have to do is to use the command cd, and I move to what? Forward slash. Cd is a command called change directory. Whenever I tell you, whenever you want to interact with Linux system, you interact with what we call um, commands. And we have different kinds of commands in Linux that makes you interact with the system. Some of those commands we have pwd, which when I hit it and I hit enter, you saw that what? It brings me out the path that leads to my current directory. And it showed me that what? My current directory is from another directory, and that directory is from the parent root directory. And that is the path following, the path flow. And you have to know that what at the back of your head, a directory is created from another directory. A directory is not from a space. So always pay attention to that. And each directory the subdirectory of another. And all directories are being created from the parent root directory. So far, so good. If you want to navigate to the parent root directory, all you have to do is to use what we call the change directory command cd. The change directory command cd is used to navigate from one directory to another. All you need to give to that cd command is a flow that he will follow to move directly to the directory of your wish. If I want to move to my forward slash, what I will do is simply take myself, hit cd, and go directly to that forward slash, which is the flow that I want to follow. This is the flow that I want to follow, forward slash, which is the path. And I hit enter. You see that what? It redirected me to what? To that forward slash. That tilde is no more, and it redirected me to the tilde. Now, if I am in tilde, how will I know that I am exactly in tilde? Is by two ways. I see the path or the flow that shows before my dollar sign, and I see that it is forward slash. Okay, good. Now I want to view its contents. Like the same way I am seeing the content of these games. When I click on it, I see that it has Rise of Nations. Good. I want to see also on Linux, view its interface. I cannot click on this and it will show me the content. No, it will only show me a highlighting. What I will do is I will type the command ls, which is another command that interacts with the Linux kernel system. But this other command is here to do what? To list the content of a directory or of a folder if you are not yet used to the word directory. And when I type ls, you see that what? The ls command will give me the content. But typing only will not give me. I have to hit enter to say that execute this command. And you see that what? A list of characters shows up. And this is the way you see. You will not see it as an icon as in Windows, but you will see it as a list in Linux. Those lists will tell you the content that is found on your current directory. It does not show you the content that is found on ls shows the content that is found on your current directory. I am in my parent root directory forward slash. Forward slash, yes, it's a symbol that makes no sense, but forward slash is a directory. In Linux, it is a directory. And it is the directory that contains all the file system of your Linux. When we talk about file system, this is what we are talking about. If we come back to our, this is what we are talking about. This is what we are talking about, the common directories. Okay, we have forward slash home. Forward slash home means what? Home is inside forward slash. It means that what? Home is a content of forward slash. And if I come with my mouse and I highlight, you can see home. Are we d'accord? Let us continue with our investigation. This is another one, bin. Sorry. This is another one, mnt. This is another one, opt. Those are file systems. Those are those are directories that you can't enter in it easily or do some modifications in it easily if you don't have permissions. That's why it is not good to work as a root user, but always reserve yourself working with regular user, because if you are not a master of administering systems, please reserve yourself as working as a regular user to restrict yourself on doing some silly errors. Okay. Even these bots. Now, knowing them is by names is not funny. You have to know them by their functions. Okay. Home, as you hear about it, it is the home directory that contains personal directories for each user on the system. Good. Meaning that what? You guys, as you have been created users, you have been all your personal files and directories have been isolated from other ones. Like if I come over here and I use this command, the command of SSH. Okay. Here I am and I'm in the remote server, Linux, and this is our host IP. I'm in the current directory. You can see that what if I do pwd, you see that what this is the home directory of Linux, my Linux server. And you can see that what the home directory comes after what? The name of your user. And whatever I have inside this directory will be personal for me. No one else will interact with you. No one else will do any modification. And if I do, for example, I navigate back. I want to navigate back. I want to move out of Linux and come back to its directory, which is home. I do what? CD to navigate from one directory to another. I do CD. And if I want to do one step back, no need to give all the full path. I have to just say dot dot. Dot dot simply means move backward. And I hit enter. You see that it have redirected me to home. And if I do ls, you will see that what? Esther is a user of this directory. Harry, Humevo, Nelson, Olivier, Prosper, all of you guys have been created home directory that will isolate your personal files and directories. So whatever you want to work on Linux, you work on your home directory from other users so that they don't interact with your directories. Is it understood? So make sure always to be in your home directories. Okay, let me exit from this session and come back to my local computer. Okay. Now, etc. The etc directory. It's a directory that contains a system-wide configuration files and scripts. Important files for your system are stored here. If we navigate into it, for instance, I'm inside the forward slash now. I just do cd, navigate to etc. I just say cd. Since etc is found in my forward slash, I just have to do cd, change directory, etc, and he will navigate to it because it's as if I'm continuing the flow. The flow is I have cd into forward slash. Now, etc is inside forward slash. Now navigate into ECT. We are continuing the flow. Here I'm using what we call relative path. I am continuing the flow, moving to a directory from my current directory, simply because that directory is present in my current directory. I am now in etc from forward slash. And I do ls. Look at all those bunch of files. All these bunch of files. All of these are really important for your system because this is where all the configurable files are present, as it is mentioned here. System-wide configuration files and scales and important files are stored here. If you do, it's like your program files of your Windows server. This because if you do a silly mistake on one of these server, the program that you install on your Linux server will be malfunctioning. Like for example, Apache 2 is a program. DHCP, which can CA certificates. When you are talking about certificates, hmm? .conf. When you see a file with .conf, means that it's a configuration file of that program. Okay, this is libody.conf, sudo.conf, sudo files, and so on and so forth. This directory contains important files important configuration files of some of your programs installed on your Linux system. Java 17 OpenGDK, Nginx, NFTables, Shadow, XML. Those are important files. That some of those files you learn about it when we'll be doing maintenance, but others no need. It's just if you continue with your system. Is you understood? Let's move ahead. So let's move back. What? I just do cd dot dot. Okay. We have another one which is /var. var. This directory holds variable files that are expected to grow. Okay. If you have a file that are not constant, that are not static, that its content, you know what's a file? A file is something that has written data in it. So all variable file is saved here. If, for example, whenever I'm speaking with you, there is something behind the screen that is recording what I'm saying and transcribing in forms of character and saving it in a file. It means that whenever I'm having a meeting with you, that file will be changing. Its content will be changing, true of us. Its content will be changing, right? Its content will be changing. And because that content changes, we call it variable. It varies. Because the content changes, we call it a variable because it varies. And all kinds of all those files that are changing or varying are saved in what we call the var directory. And if we have to move to that file, I'm inside my forward slash, just navigate into the var directory, and there is it. Backups, cache, lib, and so on. These are directories. If I navigate into lib, for instance, and I do ls, you will see Apache 2. We have Apache 2 in etc, we have Apache 2 in var. Apache 2 in var contains what we call the variable files of Apache 2 program, while Apache 2 found in Linux in etc contains the configuration files. You have to know the difference between what is found in etc and what is found in var. What is found in var changes with time or can change with time. But to us, what is found in etc are static configuration file that execute the programs. or configures the program, sorry. If I cd inside Apache 2 and an ls, you will see that we have the conf, the model, the site, and so on and so forth. Is it understood? So let me navigate back to lib, and navigate back to var, and navigate back to /. Let me stop here and ask questions. Is there any question? Hello, Nelson. Hello, Primevo. Are there any questions? Nelson, okay,
Um,
yes.
my question, my question is for like Windows,
Mm-hmm.
when you open a folder,
Yes,
you for example a music folder, you see some music that you can listen to.
yes.
If a picture folder, you see some images.
Mm-hmm.
So now with Linux and with the command line interface, how will you actually see those music or those images? Is it that will you when you create the folder, will you go back to the graphic interface to see all those things?
Exactly. You will go to the graphical interface to see all those things because music files and images file cannot be watched on the terminal. You can view the file, okay, but the content of the file you cannot view it on the terminal. You have to go to the graphic interface, which is an environment or a specific program to watch your pictures or your music file. Hmm? What you are
Okay,
doing on the
okay. If I
yes,
may, and so what we are doing now is configuring what we are going to see in the graphical interface.
yes. You
Is
are
it?
managing what you'll be seeing on the graphical interface.
Okay, okay, understood.
Yes. Like what you are doing is that you are
Thank you.
administering the system. Okay? You are administering the system so that those who are on the graphical interface to view the output of what you are doing. Hmm? But most of the times the system can go
Yeah.
down and you have to interact directly via the terminal. Hmm? That's why system admin work with the terminal. Okay?
Okay, okay.
Okay. Okay. Remember, are you having any question?
Not now.
Okay. Is it going?
Okay.
Let me continue. We move to the next, which is user. The next user. This directory contains user installed software, shared libraries, documentation, and other resources. Like it is the user executable binaries. In fact, if for example I'm a user, okay, and I've installed a software on my session, that is where my package and my binaries or my files, shared files will be stored. Like for example, if I cd it inside, I navigate into it. For example, we have bin. Hmm? I cd into bin. Okay. Inside bin, we have what we call many stuff. We have the apt key, the apt get, the apt short PPG, in fact, the base 64. In fact, those are programs that all the user sessions can work with it. We have the apt config, apt add repository, apropos, and so on and so forth. These are shared binaries. If I cd out of this I cd now into lib. This is Apache 2, which is a shared program for all of us. Like if, for example, um, uh, Nelson, you install a program and who else, Primevo or me wants to work with it. Do you think that Primevo will install again the program? No. Primevo does not need to install the program because you have already installed the program, and due to the property of shared libraries, we all will be using the same program. Is you understood? That's why these particular directories are administered by the root user, and you don't have permission to edit something here. If you're a regular, I can view, but I cannot edit. Is you understood? I can view, but I can't edit. And the way you can see if you can view or you can't edit is by this method. If I do ls, I view the content. Okay. But there's something that you have to learn in Linux, that or commands alone does not give full meaning. But when you add it with an option or with an argument, it gives another meaning. Like if I do ls and I add -l option, which is long list, give me more details. You see that what? All of this file belongs to the root users. You see root everywhere. All of them belongs to the root users, and we have specific permission for those users, which can be seen here. We have many types of permissions: the read, write, execute permission, the read and execute permission. We have the read, the write, and the execute permissions, which have a meaning. And when you enter inside ownership and permissions, you understand more into details about that. But with just this view, you will see that what all these directories found in this directory, which is in this user directory, all of them belongs to the root user and they have specific permission. That's why you as a regular user cannot modify it. You can't modify, but you can view, or you can execute, but you can't modify. So I move out simply because I can't modify. I wanted just to show you how this directory is going. We continue with the bin. Essential command libraries. The bin, the bin, these are where essential command libraries are located. Like for example, all those commands that we are executing, okay, are found inside this directory. You see cd command now. If I do ls, you have seen the cd command. Let me show you the cd command. All those commands that you are using are found in this bin directory. Where is it? You see cp. Where is cd? I want cd. Okay, cd is somewhere here. Okay, this is chcf, catman, change. cd should be somewhere around here. But this is the cat command, the catman command, the cftp command, the change command, the chardet command. In fact, most of the commands are found in this bin directory. Are we together? Most of the command that you'll be working with are found in this bin directory. Even I can say all. I don't even know why cd is not found here. But most of those commands, all what you are seeing here are commands. So if a command is not installed on your Linux server, or if the package that brings that command are not installed, this is what happened. When you install a command, for example, when you execute a command and that command is not present in your library, in your bin directory, you won't be able to execute that command. Because what will Linux tell you? Linux will tell you that, let me just give you a little explanation. Let me do cd dot dot. and let me cd, the whole directory. Okay. Let me remove, for example, the unzip command. I remove with the apt package manager, apt remove unzip. Why am I using sudo? Because I cannot remove a package if I'm not a regular user, and if I'm not a root user. So if you want to execute some um, uh, administrative command, you have to use the sudo command. I hit enter. He asks me for my password. Look at it, says he will remove my unzip command. I put yes. Good. Now, if I cd into bin directory, I know that bin is inside forward slash. I give the flow forward slash bin. This is the flow for my navigation. I hit enter. Next is that if you realize I hit cd, I type cd and hit enter, it brought me to my home directory. So hitting cd, typing cd and hit enter without any flow or path beside it, or the name of a directory, brings you back to your home directory. So pay attention so that you don't miss your pattern. Now, and I do ls, you will see that unzip is no more. If we search unzip, okay, it is in alphabetical order. This is unnamed. Unzip should be after X. You see, this is the last one. There's no unzip command. If it ends with unexed, but if I install back unzip, I do install, it installs. You will see that that command will now be present in the library. Unzip is an unzip command. It's installing. Let us just wait. Good. I do ls. I search for unzip. Where is you? Is it? You see that unzip is now found. Are we together? So whenever you want to run a command that is not found on our Linux packages, you install it. If you don't install, you will not be able to run that command. And when you install, it is being saved inside the bin as a command, because every command library is saved in the bin directory. But if it is a package like a tool, if you install a tool, that tool is saved inside what? Inside the etc directory for its configuration. But when it is a variable file, it is saved inside the var directory. Let's continue. We have the sbin. And also in the bin directory, we have also the shells. Like, you have to know that bash is also a command, and bash gives you the login shell. You have to know, so bash is a login shell. Let me search for bash. Bash is B. This is it. SH, and this is SH. You have to know something. There's a difference between bash and SH. Where is SH? This is SH. Bash and SH are logging shell. What do I mean by logging shell? This, the way you are seeing this is a logging shell. It is a shell. The layout or the appearance of your terminal is a logging shell. And in here, I'm working as the bash logging shell. Hmm? We have the bash logging shell and the SH. The SH is a little bit different. The SH, this is not showing. Okay? Whereas the bash is showing. Okay? Let me give you a simple example. cd dot dot. let me do su. No, let me do it rapidly. Sudo user mode, hyphen s bin sh user add. Okay, and I do sush. Look at, you ask me for my password. Control C, as a beauty, sh. This is simple. This, please don't focus too much on what I'm doing. I just want to show you the login share. If now I do because this will be taught. So I do sudo sush. Look at, this is the sh. This is a bin sh share. Whereas if I exit from here, you see, this is my login share here. The two login share are different. The first one, there's no username, no host name, no working directory, no. Okay? They can be the working directory, but the username and the host name are not present. This is what makes things to be frustrated or frustrating. So you have to be paying attention about that. Is you understood? Hmm? So the /bin contains a command library and the logging shells, whereas the others, it's like that. We have another one which is the def and the tmp. Hmm? What does the def does? Or the sbin? Sorry, the sbin. I've forgotten the sbin. The sbin contains the system binaries that are typically used by the root user. In fact, the sbin contains what the system binary. It is different from the bin, whereas the bin, it is um, the command binaries, whereas the sbin, it is the system binaries. And here it contains what the root user needs to execute a system administration task. So if you are not a let me call a root user, all what is present here, you cannot be working, you cannot be using it. All what is found in this as a command, because this is a command, add user. Where is it? Where is it? Add user, add shell, add group, add user. Those commands are, if you see a command here present in SB, means that what, if you are not a root user, you cannot run it easily without the sudo. And Apache 2 is a tool that if you want to reconfigure it, you have to be working as a root user. So it contains the libraries, and not only the libraries, but it contains also what? The um uh, the system binaries that are typically used by the root user for system administration tasks. So these are his properties. Now, after the SBin, we have what we call the def. The def is for device files. It contains device files, like it contains the files of your hard drive, for instance, or of your in English we call drives as volumes. Hard drives, the HDD or the SDD, we call them as volumes. Like if I cd dot dot, or I cd directly inside my dev directory with the flow, and I hit ls, we have what? All of these are device files. All of these are device files. Okay? Device files or device directories. So if you want to manage your device files, you manage from the /dev directory. Now, the next we have the TMP, which is for temporary files. Temporary files that are stored here, and these files are deleted when the system reboots. So if, for example, I shut down this system, my TMP files will be deleted. But for example, let me show it first. I do ls. These are temporary files. Hmm? For example, let me do okay. Let me log in into our system. I don't want to reboot, but put in mind that if you have a system, okay, if I have my system, let me create. You are seeing this system exactly. If I reboot my system, what is found in this TMP, some of the files will be deleted because these files are temporal. They're not there forever. So every file that has created temporarily are saved in this temporal directory, TMP. Now the next you have the MNT and the media directory. The MNT is a directory that mount file system. That use mount file system, meaning that what? External drives. Like I told you that this Ubuntu is installed in my Windows machine. Are we together? So if I see the inside MNT, I will see MNT. I will see my common hard drive, my C drive. This C is what you are seeing here. Disco local C, Windows C. Hmm? If I CD into C, you will see what recycle bin, games, and so on, what is present in my hard drive. So, meaning what? The MNT directory is the directory that contains shared directory. If you have, for example, if my system has multiple hard drives, multiple volumes attached to it. If I want to move from one directory to another, or if I want to save directory from one to another, I will save it inside those directory by moving into my MNT directory. That's all. So this is a little bit on how to move or how to partition where your files or your folders or your directories are partitioned. They're partitioned inside the MNT. In fact, they are found inside the MNT directory when you're working on Linux system. But when you're working on Windows, they are found in what? In this PC. Is you understood? In this PC, I can see my phone that is attached. I can see C drive. But in Linux, I see it under my MNT directory. Is you understood? Okay. And lastly, the opt. The opt, this directory is used for optional software packages and add-on application, and they are not part of default system installation. Meaning what? These are directory used for optional software packages and add-on application that are not part of the default system installation. Like if when you install your system and they are not and some programs are not saved by default, the opt directory contains newly or optional software packages. Like for example, if I cd inside /opt, I do ls, you see the only optional software package is not present in my etc directory or in my var directory will be now is what container. And if I see the inside container, I do ls, you see permission denied. If I sudo, if I become a root user, and I cd inside /opt. This is, I'm now what? The root user. You see the pound, the dollar sign has changed to pound. I cd inside /, sorry. See, bin and lib. I cd inside bin, nothing is inside. I cd inside lib, nothing is inside. So when you see permission denied, either you don't have full power or you are not the root user. Full stop. So any question about the file system and about Linux? Any question about it? Remember, Nelson, any question?
No.
No.
No question for now.
Okay. So the ls command is used to list the content of the directory. The pwd command is to show you your current directory. If I keep bringing out the full path or the flow moving from the parent directory to your current directory, the /, it is the parent directory. The cd is a command used to navigate from one directory to another, followed by the path. We have the dot that moves you backward. We have the flow that brings you from the parent directory to the directory that you wish to move to, which we call the absolute path. And the relative path is when, for example, you move from your current directory to a behold or to another directory which is within your current directory. Is it understood?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's good. So, what I wish from you guys is you do shortcuts on your own words about the file system that we watched together today. Mm. Short words, short notes. Can you do it? Mm. And exercise yourself with,
As an assignment,
yes, as an assignment, and exercise yourself with cd ls pwd commands. Is you understood?
Yeah.
Nelson, why are
okay,
you
okay.
stammering?
And
Are you
normally,
hesitating?
I'm still, no, 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 no. And normally, I'm still,
You have to be, we are taking you again small, small. Um, 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 Before time, we will start speeding. So we want, first of all, you to grab the basic concepts before we start speeding. Mm. Take this time. We're supposed to finish in 30 or 1 hour. Take this time to go back on what we did. I will upload the video before tonight so that you can review it whenever you are stable. Okay?
Yeah.
Okay. So, see you guys tomorrow.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.